Hello, everyone. Welcome to Art Classes with Jen. How are you doing today? Are you ready to make some great art and learn about a cool artist? I know I am. Now, we are going to be learning about Joan Miro. It's going to be really exciting. Now, this past lesson, we learned about shape, and we learned about Yayoi Kusuma, and we looked at the work of Wassily Kandinsky. Now, this week, we're going to learn about Miro, and we're going to learn how he used his shapes in artwork. We're going to watch a couple of videos together. The first one will give us information about Miro, and the second is taking a closer look at one of his artworks that is actually at the Detroit Institute of Art. All right, so grab your sketchbooks while we're starting to dive in to learn about Miro. And if you feel inspired, sketch away. Here we go. Here's our first video about Miro.
Spanish painter Joan Miro. He was best known for his playful, childlike art. He was born on April 20th, 1893 in Barcelona, Spain, and died on Christmas Day in 1983. Joan started painting and studying art at the age of 14 and attended many different art schools. In the beginning of his art career, he tried different painting styles that were popular at the time. For example, his artwork included bright colors influenced by a group of artists called the Fauves, and his shapes were influenced by Picasso's Cubist style. When Joan Miro moved to Paris, France in 1920, his art became influenced by the Surrealist poets and artists. He then began his own personal Surrealist style. This is the style of art that made Joan Miro so famous. Surrealism is a style of art in which everyday objects are distorted or changed into dreamlike images. Miro's paintings were based on pictures from his memory, his dreams, or his imaginative fantasy. His dreamlike paintings were often funny and colorful. He used a lot of images of twisted animal forms, organic shapes, and odd geometric shapes. Organic forms are similar to those shapes in nature and usually have curved or irregular edges, never straight lines. Geometric forms are shapes that have smooth, hard, even edges. You would rarely, if ever, see geometric shapes in nature. His shapes and forms are usually placed on a flat, neutral background, and his shapes are painted in bright colors, especially blue, red, yellow, green, and black. His soft, curvy, organic shapes are placed next to sharply drawn lines, spots, and curls, all positioned in a funny and unexpected way. Miro art is hard to describe. He liked to describe it as poetry. His art is filled with bright colors and simple forms that remind people of the drawings of little children. By the 1930s, Joan Miro had become a famous artist, and in 1940 he moved back to his hometown in Spain. During the period between 1940 and 1948, he experimented in other forms of art. Etching, lithography. He started to use watercolor, pastels, make collages, ceramics, murals, and even painted on copper. Among all these different styles and mediums he used, he is best known for his surrealist paintings.
All right. It's kind of interesting to look at Miro's work and how he was using shape. We're actually going to play a little game now. So I want you to go ahead and get your piece of paper, and I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around so you can see my paper as well. And we're going to create some Miro-inspired work.
Now it's time for our game. We're going to roll a Miro. I need you to have a pen and a fresh piece of paper. I'm going to roll the dice for us, and we're going to select items from our page. We have our large shapes column, our stars, our eyes, our lines, and our small shapes. So let's go ahead and get going. Let's take a look. On this first roll, we have 2 1s, we have 2 4s, and we have 1 6. So we're going to select 2 items from line 1. I'm going to select the large shape. I'm going to also select the line. When we come to line 4, you get to select 2 also, because we have 2 4s. So I'm going to select this other large shape. And I'm also going to select this small shape. Next we have our 6. Now we get one item from line 6, and I'm going to go ahead and select this line right here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll a few more times. Here's our next roll. In this roll, we have 2 1s, 2 2s, and 1 5. So let's go to line 1, where we have our 2 1s. Select 2 items. I'm going to select my eye, and I'm going to select my star. For the 2s, we get to select 2 2s. I'm going to select the star, and I'm going to select a small shape. Then we have our line 5, and we get to select here. I'm going to go ahead and select this eye. All right, let's roll 3 more times. This roll, we have a 1, 2, and 3 6s. All right, let's look at our line 1. What would you like to select from line 1? I'm going to go ahead and do another eye. Now we get to select something from line 2. I'm going to go ahead and do another small shape of the crescent moon. We get, oh, this one flipped on me. We get 3 6s here. So I'm going to do another one of these lines. And I'm also going to do this small shape. All right, 2 more rolls. Here we go. This time we have 3 2s, 1 5, and a 6. So look at the 2s line. Select what you want. I'm going to do a star. We get 3. I think I'm going to do an eye. And I'm going to do a line. Now we get to come to our 5. I'm going to go ahead and select that star. I haven't done one of these yet. And then we have a 6. And I'm going to do this eye. I'm going to actually put it inside. All right, last roll. Here we go. We have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. All right, so select your item from line 1. I'm going to do one of these lines. Line 2, I'm going to go ahead and do, I think, another eye. Line 3, I'm going to do a zigzag line. Line 4, I'm actually going to do a swirl. And for the star, I'm going to put it inside. Line 5, I'm going to do the small shape. Only I'm going to put it inside here. All right, now grab your coloring utensils and go ahead and pause the video and add some color.
Now we're ready to look at our next video. Now Miro is said to be a surrealist, and in the video it mentioned surrealism. Well, surrealism is an abstract art movement. It started in the 1920s by a writer named André Breton. The images produced by surrealism include those of fantasy and often world of dreams. There are generally 2 types of surrealism. The first type is inspired by dreams, and the second is called automatism, which is art that is made without planning ahead or thinking about it, even while you're doing it. When we see surrealism, we often see mixed media art. Mixed media art is when we are using several different types of mediums. So we might be using pastels, we might be using pencil and marker, we might be grabbing some crayons, and we might be combining those all together. Now we're going to go ahead and watch our next video, and this is from the Detroit Institute of Art. We're going to examine one of Miro's artwork that is there as part of their collection.
My name is Chelsea A. Flowers, and I'm a gallery teacher at the Detroit Institute of Art. And so with being a gallery teacher, my job is mainly to share museum experiences with visitors that come in, to have conversations surrounding the art collection. And since we all can't be together right now in the museum, I wanted to share with y'all one of my favorite pieces from the collection. I have many favorites, so just wanted to share this one with you all. And so this piece, it's a painting by an artist named Joan Miro. It's called Self-Portrait Number 2. In this painting, Miro uses a fairly kind of, not simplistic, but minimal color palette. The background is black or charcoal tone. He uses some white throughout the painting to create the figures within it. And he's typically using reds or orange. I've heard people say they see red or orange. Once again, it just depends on your perspective and the colors that you see. So he's using reds / oranges, yellows, and blues / turquoises, so primary colors or what he's utilizing. And so in utilizing these tones and these colors, he's also creating different shapes and kind of figures or within the work. So starting from the left / right kind of upper portion of the painting, you can see 2 stars that have like a turquoise or a bluish tone. As your eyes move further lower down the painting, you'll see orange / red and yellow, either flowers or suns, depending on who you're asking, depends on what they see. And then in between those, a little bit lower, there's like a little area that is a fish kind of like creature or a whale like creature. And then as you're moving down lower, you'll see like a little cross with kind of little horns on top, depending on how you want to describe it. And there are what could be described as 2 moons that are coming from the sides. And then kind of throughout the painting, there are a few more abstract kind of images or imagery within it. The artist creates in a way that isn't like there's one way to describe it. It's really open to the interpretation of the viewer, which is one thing that I really enjoy about this painting. The artist originally painted in a manner that was more realistic, but he really wanted the audience to stop and think more about his work. That's when he started painting in a less realistic manner. And also, just to share a little bit of a fun fact, that Joan Miro was a contemporary of Pablo Picasso, so they were painting pretty much during the same time period. But so back to the painting. So yeah, as I was saying, the one thing that I really enjoy about this, or one of the many things I really enjoy about this painting, is that it's really open to interpretation. And so I've heard so many different really interesting ideas when people are viewing it, that I've heard people say that they see the universe, they see cycles of life and death, that they see like an ocean scene when looking at it. So there's just so many really amazing interpretations that can happen when viewing this artwork. And so although getting back to this notion of artist's intent, if you didn't get it from the title, once again, it's called Self-Portrait Number 2. The image that we're actually looking at is meant to be a self-portrait. It's really the artist portraying himself, but not using typical facial features or elements, but instead he's using shapes and kind of colors to represent himself. And so just to share like a possibility of the facial feature, just in case you don't see it, it is possible that the blue stars I mentioned before, that those could be the artist's eyebrows. It's possible that the suns or the flowers that are in the kind of the middle of the painting, it could be the person's eyes, it could be the artist's eyes. It's possible that the fish or the whale could be the nose. And it's also possible that the moons or bananas, depending on what you see, could be the mouth of the person, of the artist. And so once again, there's just so much really open interpretation when looking at this work, which again is one of the reasons why I really enjoy it. Another reason that I really enjoy this painting is because I get a chance, as I mentioned, to have so many great conversations with people in the museum, and it's not always in English. I get a chance to talk to people in Spanish, and it's a really good chance for me to practice. And so, por ejemplo, en la pintura es posible que las estrellas are the eyebrows, are potentially the eyebrows. Y también es posible que los ojos son los flores o los soles, depending on which one you see. Es posible que el nariz es el pescado o el pez, más o menos. Y también es posible que la boca son las lunas o las bananas, depending on once again, which one you see. And so more or less, I was just kind of reiterating or repeating what I said previously about all the different features and what they were they could represent in the painting. Just sharing it once again in Spanish. But with that being said, feel free to comment below. Do you see a face? Or also maybe try creating your own. How would you portray yourself if you're not actually using actual facial features?
What did you think about Miro's portrait? Did it seem like something that you might see in a dream? Today, we're going to be creating our own portraits inspired by this piece. So let's get our construction paper, our glue, and our scissors. Now you can start by tearing or cutting the shapes. I want you to start thinking about what shapes would represent your eyes, your nose, your mouth, and your ears. Choose a base construction paper color and then go from there with the different colors that you want to add. Let's get started.
Now that we have our supplies, we're going to get started on our Miro-inspired self-portrait. So if we remember, in the work that we saw from the Detroit Institute of Art, everything is very dreamlike. The eyes, the nose. So like I had mentioned, I want you to think about what you want to do for your nose, for your ears, for your eyes. You might want to also grab additional supplies like markers, paint pens, paint sticks, maybe crayons, and you can add in some details with those later. So go ahead and select your base construction color, and we're going to go ahead and start cutting out different shapes that you feel inspired by. Remember, focusing on eyes, nose, mouth, and ears. See where
All right, our time is coming to a close for class today. I hope that you have enjoyed learning about Joan Miro and creating your own Miro-inspired artwork. Miro says, "When I stand in front of a canvas, I never know what I'm going to do, and nobody is more surprised than I at what comes out." So remember, artists, art isn't perfect. Sometimes it is messy. Sometimes when we make what seems like a mistake, it actually takes our artwork into a whole new amazing direction. Allow your creativity to explode onto the page. Surprise yourself with what comes out, like Miro. Follow your pen, like Chantel Martin. There is no such thing as perfect art. Art explodes from our heart and our minds. It is an expression of ourselves. You are wonderful artists. And this week, I have a few Take It Further projects that I will link below. I hope you enjoyed this class today. We'll see you next time.